Today, we got a little bit of a comparison of what we would consider kind of a benchmark product in the industry, the new Mizuno Pro Irons. So we're going to be doing some testing with DJ, comparing our MP20 line to the new Mizuno Pro line coming out for us in 2022. All right, so let's start today with MP20, older tech. This is the MMC head. We'll start here, get a baseline, see what we've got. So first baseline, MMC, pretty good numbers here. We're averaging 5,600 RPMs a spin, which pretty solid for 6-iron. And ball speed, pretty good at 128.2. We were seeing carry number at 183. So current gamer 6-iron, where would you kind of put that in line?
I'm right in that ballpark, so I'd say that's very similar. I play a similar profile to that, so.
So good baseline number there. So new product coming out from Mizuno, we're gonna transition into Mizuno Pro 223. So just to highlight some of the changes that we've made in the 223, we've gone to a little smaller head design, even smaller than what we have in current MMC. So if you were to think about a marriage between MP64 and the 921 forged, that's basically the footprint that we have here in the 223. So they've gone to a forged chromoly head in the 4 through 7 iron, which generates just a little bit more ball speed across the board. Then when you get down into the scoring irons, the 8 through pitching wedge, we actually transition into a nice 1025 grain flow forged steel.
So 223, I definitely noticed the top line has changed a little bit in size. The 223's top line was just a touch thicker, not in an off-putting way, but I could tell there was a touch bigger. With that being said, I could 100% feel that this head, the ball was moving faster off the face.
And that is exactly what we saw with the data too. So we saw about 2 miles an hour average of increased ball speed here.
Okay.
So we did pick up a little bit of carry as well. Apex height stayed relatively close to what we were seeing with MMC. Landing angle did improve a little bit. We picked up a little bit of spin over MMC. Acoustics wise, there was a pretty big difference from what I was hearing.
Right.
So at address, overall package looked a little bigger to you.
Correct.
So what was that sound like?
Definitely a sound that better handicapped player is going to appreciate. It's got kind of that smooth transition. There's no clicky aspect to it, but obviously with a little bit more turf interaction, a little thicker top line, I think it applies to a wider variety of golfers.
Perfect. And Mizuno is really gearing all of these new irons to be played as not only a full set, top to bottom, but they've also built these to where you can blend combo sets very seamlessly throughout the entire Mizuno Pro family. So with that being said, let's move on to our next product. Let's go back and check out HMB in the MP20 line, get a baseline there, and then we'll check that out compared to the new 225.
Sounds great.
So with MP20 HMB, we did see a little gain in ball speed there, though a lot more consistency, but we would kind of expect that with a little bit more forgiveness in this particular head design. So let's see how it stacks up with 225. So Mizuno Pro 225, HMB replacement. We have that hollow body all the way down from 2-iron through 8-iron this year with 27 grams of tungsten in these heads.
Okay.
So very easy to launch, higher MOI, higher COR. Improvement over what we saw with HMB. Now, the interesting part as far as the data is concerned is even on the miss hit, ball speed was fairly stable.
Right.
We didn't see a huge loss in distance. Dispersion down range, a little tighter than what we saw with HMB.
Yep.
What was feel on your end?
So feel on my end, again, I could feel the speed off the face, but the most impressive thing to me was the miss hits. I had a few that I didn't hit as well as I would have liked to, but I was impressed to see that the ball speed stayed consistent, and then the ones that I did hit well, wasn't such a significant jump that you feel like you're getting flyers, but you can definitely get a little more distance out of it, which is exactly what you're looking for in that package.
I really like what they've done here, and we saw consistently 2 miles an hour plus of ball speed over the HMB, even on the miss hits that we had in the sample.
Yeah, it's impressive.
The design of this set, fairly unique in the sense that they actually started in the scoring irons and then reverse engineered the set back up through the long irons.
Right.
So in the HMB, they started in those long irons thinking that this would be a design that players would want to incorporate with a blended set to have a faster, more forgiving iron in the long irons.
Right.
They went the opposite direction with new 225. They started scoring irons, made the package tight, compact to appeal to that better player, and then carried that transition of technology all the way through the lawn. Now, let's move into the blade.
Love it. Yep.
Moving down the line into MP20, we have the more traditional player style blade. Though MP20 was kind of a tilt to the cap to what Mizuno once was with their design process. They've reincorporated that copper underlay. So better feel, better feedback, and just a really, really solid player's iron. So MP20, great sound. What was feel like on your end?
I mean, very responsive. You can tell exactly where that ball is hitting on the face, a little heely, a little toe, but that's what you're looking for in this iron. Very happy with it. You're gonna get a very tight dispersion front to back, kind of understanding where you're hitting on the face, very responsive, checks all the boxes for that player's iron, looks great from the top. Turf interaction's great, but looking forward to see what the new one does.
So Mizuno Pro 221, very comparable to what we had in MP20. A little bit of cosmetic change. They'll also have a little bit more heel relief, a little bit more trailing edge relief down towards the heel section, reconfiguring of some weight displacement in the head. So definitely a little bit more concentrated towards the center of the head, a little higher MOI, keeping with that grain flow forging that Mizuno is known for, and also keeping that copper underlay. Good sound. That was a great ball. So Mizuno Pro 221, no disappointment whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Saw another bump in ball speed when compared to previous MP20. That transition that they made from the hosel to leading edge, removing a little bit of material off of that heel. So at address, what'd you think?
First thing I noticed was that leading edge. It almost has an onset look to it, which as a better player is something that is going to appeal to me and those lower handicaps. It looks great, but the sound was amazing. Very
consistent on ball speed. That little bump that we saw over MP20 was nice. They stayed in that grain flow forge. They kept the copper underlay. That reposition and discretionary weight that they moved more towards the center of the face. We really saw a good stable ball speed, especially for this category of iron.
Yeah, absolutely. No disappointments at all.
So wrapping up our day here, having an opportunity to test all the new Mizuno Pro product, the 223, the 225, the 221, I think we saw an improvement across the board.
Yeah, I would agree. It was an absolute pleasure to test the product. I've been a fan of Mizuno for a long time, and to see what they've done with this new line, the improvements they've made, both cosmetics, sound, feel, they've checked all the boxes as far as what the players in these categories are going to be looking for. Absolutely impressed with this line.
The technical improvements are very evident. They're subtle in appearance, but when it comes to the actual performance, in comparing the numbers between MP20 and the new Mizuno Pro line, we saw improvements across the board. So I'm excited to see what this year holds for us.
Absolutely. You gotta definitely spend the time, test them all, because you never know which one of these can be best for you, but absolutely overall, one of the iron heads you definitely need to check out this year.
Exactly. Biggest point, get fit.
Get fit.